But let's get talking about the personal finance segment. We have pension plans which are on our radar this morning. Harshvardhan Rungta Securities joins in to talk about exactly that. Harsh, hi, thanks very much for joining in. I won't really be an expert with regards to pension planning at this point in time, but I just actually wanted to focus on how insurance companies are now launching pension plans. But do you think that pension planning is the only or possibly the most effective way to plan for retirement?
Well, Ekta, let's take it from the top first. We see, as you mentioned, that we see a lot of companies now launching pension plans. Now, let's go back to the year 2010. That was the first time IRDA had issued the first round of guidelines for pension policies. And in those guidelines, IRDA had mandated all the insurance companies that the pension plans should have at least a minimum guarantee of 4.5% returns. Now, none of the insurance companies were ready and prepared for this kind of to offer this kind of guaranteed returns. So we had seen that virtually no products were being launched since 2010 and 11. So in 2011, IRDA diluted its guidelines to say that one of the two needs to be given, which is a positive non-zero returns on all the premiums paid by the investor, or the guaranteed maturity benefits. Now, strangely, because the term is very vague in saying that it has to be positive non-zero returns, we have now started seeing all the insurance companies trying to launch their pension plans which guarantee a minimum of 1% over the next 20 years of the policy. So, and further, the new guidelines also say that the investor cannot buy a pension, he cannot go hunting at the time of his retirement, he cannot go hunting with another insurance company to buy pensions which offer him better returns. So, it's a huge restriction on the policy holder. Now, let me explain this to you with an example. Now, if a 30-year-old plans for his retirement, which is 25 years hence from now, pension plans or pension planning is divided into two parts. The first stage is when you're saving up to retirement. So 30-year-old starts saving for the next 25 years for his retirement purposes. The second stage is at retirement, which is in this case 55 years of age. He needs to deploy that fund somewhere to get regular returns, which is called pension. So if I have to look at an investor, what are the options available to him? Now, first option available to him is that based on his own risk assessment, he can invest into any product in the first stage, which is up to his age of 55. He could choose an equity, debt, he could use bonds, or he could simply put into a recurring deposit, and I'm sure he will get more than 4.5%, which the insurance companies are scared to even offer. So now on the second stage, which is at retirement, at his vesting, which is called retirement age is called vesting in terms of insurance parlance. So at retirement, now he has that corpus accumulated. He can park this corpus into a fixed deposit, into tax-free bonds, into NCDs, or any other product which offers him regular interest. Now this is called pension. What insurance companies in the form of a pension policy offer is the same thing. They break up into two parts, just that it's in the form of an insurance policy, and there are lots of restrictions. First, that you cannot prepone or postpone your retirement. If in case you've decided at 45 that you've got enough corpus and don't want to work further, policies will start paying pension only after the age of 55 because you originally given them and you entered into a contract accordingly with them. And secondly, they are very expensive as compared to other investment options. So to sum up in all, if an investor can manage his funds on his own, he can stay disciplined. It is always better to plan for retirement on your own. You are likely to accumulate a larger corpus than what you will get through expensive policies, because they have very high administrative costs, commissions need to be paid out, there are very high salaries and incentives to be paid out to the insurance company employees. So you plan it separately, keep it independent, and that would be a better way to plan for retirement than to go for these fancy advertisements promising you holidays with meager pensions that they offer. If a company is not able to give you even 4.5% guaranteed inflation adjusted returns, how do you get swayed by the fancy advertisement saying that you'll go on foreign holidays after your retirement?
Fair enough. Since you kept referring to it, what exactly is the service charge or service charges that pension plans levy?
See, at first, when you make a premium payment, because it's an insurance policy, it's called a premium. So you make an investment which is in the form of a premium. There is an entry load which is levied. So it varies from the premium that you pay from company to company. Secondly, there are administrative charges that you have to pay, which is in the form of your fund management charge and lots of other policy administration, fixed monthly administrative charges. If you go in for a non-unit linked policy, the investment pattern is very opaque. You really don't.
NPS?
Well, NPS is also on the same lines. NPS, the National Pension Scheme, is also on the same lines, though it is promising that it is much more cheaper because it is a flagship, social security scheme of the government. They've tried to restrict the expenses, which is offering, which currently at present levels also is better than a pension plan. But if I have to look at from a financial savvy person or a person who can manage his investments, he's even far more better off if he manages it through an equity or a debt portfolio on his own. On retirement, he parks that money at his own discretion as per his risk profiling, and then he gets regular payments out of it, so which is called pension.
Fair enough.
So I think that is the first option. If not, then NPS, and then last, if you have no other choice, then go for a pension policy.
All right. Harsh, there are people with questions on the same issue. We are taking a break and we are back in a minute. Okay, we were talking about pension plans, and Harshvardhan Rungta, our expert, was advising us that going to the standard pension plans offered by insurance companies would be an expensive way of planning for your entertainment, for your retirement. It would be much better if you put away your own money and managed it at the end of your, at the start of your retirement period by investing in bonds or debentures or other fixed return instruments. On that issue, Sangram Bhatia joins us from Faridabad with his question. Sangramji, go ahead. What is your question?
Ma'am, I want to know that if I have a few years till my retirement, so is there an age before which I cannot withdraw my pension? Also, is there a scheme in which, in case I need to prepone and withdraw the money, which fund do I invest in?
What is this pension you're talking about? Is this your company pension scheme?
Yes.
Are you a government servant? Is that the pension
Private
you're talking
company.
about? You're working in a private company. You're asking if you can withdraw your EPF.
Yes.
All right. Fine. Harsh, go ahead.
Well, no, Sangram. I would say that, because it's a pension policy, again, there are certain restrictions in it. There is an age limit after which the pension can start. Your employer has contracted with an insurance company wherein he is passing on the money to that insurance company to manage it and subsequently offer you a superannuation on it. So one, you would need to check with your employer whether there are terms which restrict the payment of pension. So that your employer would be able to answer that question. However, coming back to the regular pension policies, they are not designed to give you pension earlier than what it has been contracted for. Secondly, withdrawal from pensions is also not the idea behind having a pension plan. So you need to keep these things in mind before you decide how you're going to save for your pension in your individual capacity. As far as your employer is concerned, the EPS that you have with your company, you need to check the terms they have entered into with the insurance company, and there is where you will get an answer.
Okay, so the end call is that recommend retirement planning without the use of pension plans. That should be third on your list after equities, and then after another option which Harsh had lined out, but pension plan should be possibly last on your list. That's the word coming in. Thanks, Harsh, for joining in and taking us through the personal finance segment for today.